Why are people spending thousands of dollars on a Disney World vacation only to have a terrible time while they're there? Let's expose why people are having a bad time at Disney World and how you can avoid their mistakes. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Vlog. So little mistakes here and there are always going to happen on vacation because no trip is 110% flawless all the time, and things are just going to come up. But when a major mistake threatens to shake the integrity of your vacation and make everyone else miserable, that's something you're going to want to avoid. So today we're covering the top reasons why people are having terrible Disney World vacations and how you can prevent having the same fate. If you're looking for some extra guidance on how to not just plan your big Disney World trip, but to help you break down your planning into bite-sized, manageable chunks throughout the whole year, then make sure you drop us your email at disneyfoodblog.com/disneyplans after this to receive our totally free DFB planning companion and vacation worksheets. Okay, first up, forgetting those park pass reservations. Can you imagine traveling all the way to Disney World and not being allowed inside the parks? Believe it or not, it happens all the time. For the remainder of 2023, park passes will be required for every day of your visit, in addition to a valid theme park ticket. Once you buy your tickets, you'll go onto the Disney World website and reserve those park pass reservations for each person in your travel party. Essentially, these passes guarantee your spot in the parks. Without one, you won't be allowed entry, regardless of whether you paid for park tickets or not. Some folks don't mind park pass reservations all that much, but for others, this planning tool has been a major pain ever since it was introduced back in 2020 after the park closures. So if you're currently saving up for a 2024 Disney trip, I've got good news for you. Starting January 9th, 2024, park pass reservations will not be needed at all for those who have date-based tickets. In other words, people who buy regular theme park tickets that are tied to a specific date or set of dates won't need any park pass reservations to get into the parks whatsoever. This is going to be most of us. But for those traveling to Disney in 2023, sorry friends, park reservations are still a must. Try to make your park pass reservations as soon as your plans are finalized, especially if you're traveling during a busy time, a 3-day weekend, when kids are off of school, etc. But what happens when you try to book a park pass reservation and they're all booked solid for the park you want to visit? Well, don't panic yet. Well, scratch that. Don't panic at all. Deep breaths. Disney World tends to release more park pass reservations as the dates in question get closer. So keep an eye on the theme park availability calendar to see if more availability goes live later on. It usually does. We also post on the DFB website frequently about when park pass reservations are replenished for certain high traffic days, so make sure to check back with us often. We also drop those updates straight into your inbox when you sign up for the DFB newsletter. And if you're still not having any luck getting those park pass reservations that you were really wanting for Magic Kingdom or Hollywood Studios, because those are the two that fill up the fastest, no panicking allowed. What you might want to do instead is invest in a park hopper add-on, which starts at $65 on top of your regular ticket price. If you have a park hopper ticket, then you'll still be able to head over to a different park than the one you have a reservation for beginning at 2 p.m. Of course, this is subject to park capacity, but the parks have yet to fill up to the point where park hopping is not allowed, except for on the 50th anniversary when park hopping was unavailable for the Magic Kingdom. But that was one day in the past like 2.5 years. Now, if park hopping ever does become available, you will be notified by the My Disney Experience app, so you don't have to worry about showing up and being turned away. Thank goodness. Okay, next thing that really annoys people and contributes to them having a horrible trip is trying to drive to other hotels and not being allowed to go in. Resort hopping is possible, but if you do it the wrong way, then you're flat out rejected before you even get to the hotel. While you can access any resort via Disney's transportation services, like when you hop onto the Skyliner or a monorail or a bus, many guests choose to drive around property instead, and that's fine for the most part. But if you're planning to resort hop and check out other hotels around Disney World, then all my drivers out there need to know that you won't always be able to park your car at the Disney hotels where you don't have a room reservation or a dining reservation. Depending on the time of the year, this rule can be more strictly enforced during some seasons over others, but just to always be on the safe side, it's best not to risk driving all the way over to a hotel only to be turned away at the front gate. Again, you can still visit other resorts if you're not staying at or don't have dining reservations for them if you travel to them via Disney's free transportation. However, just keep in mind that Disney buses don't travel between resorts. So if you're relying on those buses to take you from Hotel A to Hotel B, you're going to have to either board a different resort shuttle from one of the park bus stops or from the Disney Springs bus stops instead. Next on our list of things that can totally ruin your day in Disney World, forgetting the virtual queues. Tron Light Cycle Run in Magic Kingdom and Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind in Epcot are the two newest rides in Disney World, and if you're out of the loop, you're gonna wind up missing out on both of them. A little story for you. I can remember being on the Skyliner when Rise of the Resistance first opened and it had that virtual queue and you couldn't ride it without being a part of the virtual queue. This was before individual lightning lanes in Disney Genie Plus, by the way. And I can remember being on that Skyliner with a dad and his daughter, and they just both desperately wanted to ride Rise of the Resistance, and of course all the virtual queue spots were sold out, and this was their last day in Disney World and they were not going to get to ride. It's horrible when this happens, and we're going to make sure you avoid that. So at the moment, neither of the newest rides in Disney World have a standby regular queue that you can get into, which might be fine for some of you who'd rather not have to wait 5 hours to experience a ride that's less than 2 minutes long, but for others who rely on those physical standby queues to guarantee them at least one ride through on these brand new attractions, or for people who just have no idea that virtual queues exist, this can be a majorly nerve-wracking revelation. There are only 2 ways to ride the coasters. You can either A, purchase an individual lightning lane, or B, join the free virtual queue. If you're planning on not spending more money than you'd like to on an individual lightning lane by joining the virtual queue instead, then you're gonna need to move fast, because once 7 a.m. hits and that first round of boarding groups goes live, they can book up really fast. One major step you can take to give yourself a better chance of getting one of those coveted boarding group numbers is to confirm your party in the My Disney Experience app ahead of time. Starting at 6 a.m., you can tap into the virtual queue and set your party, which means confirm the group you want to ride with, so that you have fewer steps when it's time to try for your boarding group. Once you're in the app, find the Join Virtual Queue button. You'll see it on the home page or by tapping on that 3-lined hamburger button icon on your bottom right-hand corner and scrolling down to the virtual queue option. From there, you'll see a button that says Confirm Your Party. Select the people in your group that want a virtual queue, and voila! That's one less step you're gonna have to worry about when it's time to book at 7 a.m. Now, if you still didn't manage to grab a 7 a.m. boarding group, the virtual queues will open again at 1 p.m. for everyone currently inside the park, so you do have another chance at success. But you have to be in Magic Kingdom for the Tron virtual queue, and you have to be in Epcot for the Cosmic Rewind queue. You might even have a third chance at success if you're staying at a deluxe resort and are planning on taking advantage of the extended evening hours. Those are available on certain nights at certain parks for all deluxe resort guests. This exclusive benefit will allow you to stay in the parks up to 2 hours after they close for everyone else. The extended evening hours benefit will reopen the virtual queue for a third time around 5 or 6 p.m. for deluxe resort guests who are looking for a nighttime ride through on either coaster. And nope, you don't have to be inside the parks in order to access that boarding group drop. Okay, the next big mistake folks are making, and this is especially true in the world of Genie Plus, is letting their devices die. Now, you might love it or hate it, but regardless, the My Disney Experience app is your Swiss Army knife of Disney World right now. This is where you're gonna keep hold of everything you'll need to make your trip run smoothly. Your park tickets, your dining reservations, your mobile orders, your room key. As Katie from Mean Girls would say, the limit does not exist. And that means if anything were to happen to your phone, like for instance, it were to run out of juice on you in the middle of the day, then all that important information isn't gonna be so easy to access anymore, and might even be impossible to recover without your phone handy. I'm not flat out saying a dead phone is going to lead to lost hotel rooms, park passes, and dining reservations. Fortunately, Disney's got all that info saved in the cloud. What I am saying is that the dead phone means having to recover some of those features over at guest relations or front lobbies or the ticket booths, which can eat some major time out of your day. In short, it's a good idea to anticipate a dead phone battery, because something tells me you've had more than your fair share of dead battery instances even outside the Disney bubble, right? So here are a few things you can do when your phone dies in Disney World, like mine does at about noon every single day. Option 1, find a charging station. The parks have several locations where you can plop down and charge up your phone for a bit. A few locations we tend to gravitate toward include the hidden outlets in the tree stumps across from the tangled restrooms in Magic Kingdom. Yeah, who doesn't want to sit outside a bunch of bathrooms when you're spending a bunch of money to be in the middle of the most magical place on earth, right? Of course. The wall outlets at Star Wars Launch Bay and Hollywood Studios. The outlets at Connection Eatery and Epcot, where you can have a quick bite to eat and charge your phone at the same time. Just make sure you purchase a meal first, otherwise you won't be able to take up a table here. Although there are some outlets over on the cafe side as well, so you can just buy a coffee and charge over there. And of course the outlets at Discovery River Amphitheater next to the end section of each set of bleachers and spread out all around the stadium over in Disney's Animal Kingdom. Keep in mind that you will need to bring your own charging cord and plug, which is extremely important to pack in your park bag before your trip kicks off. off. You're gonna need it. I personally just have like a little pouch that has an extra charging cord, external battery pack, and a charging plug as well. Okay, option 2, invest in that external battery pack, that portable charger. If you don't have the time to sit around and wait for your phone to come back to life, then pack those portable chargers in your park bag. You can find reliable ones on Amazon or at one of your local big box stores for around $25. If you happen to forget your portable charger back home, you're not out of luck yet. You can still purchase a fuel rod from one of the fuel rod kiosks inside the parks. I've had to do this at Animal Kingdom before since I was getting ready to park hop over to Hollywood Studios and didn't have time to sit down and fuel up. And you need to know that fuel rods are pricier than what you're going to find online or at Target. Expect to drop $30 for one of these little guys and only get about one charge out of it. The good thing about them though is as soon as a fuel rod runs out of juice, you can exchange it for a fully charged one at any of the fuel rod kiosks you come across. And bonus, if you want to purchase a fuel rod before your trip, you can buy 2 for the price of 1 on Amazon ahead of time. These will work exactly the same as the ones you purchase inside the parks, they'll just be cheaper. And option 3, switch your phone to low power mode. This will only work for you if your phone has at least 1% battery life. But as long as it powers on, you can save your phone's last remaining bit of life by putting it on low power mode to preserve the charge. On an iPhone, you can do this by going to settings, selecting battery, then toggling low power mode on. While on an Android device, you'll need to go to settings, select battery, then tap battery saver. This way, your phone will automatically reduce its normal functions to extend your charge. Next thing that can cause your trip to be an absolute disaster if you don't know about it beforehand, being blindsided by a sudden Disney change. So Disney World is prone to change. Some changes are good, some are weird, and some threaten to dismantle your trip completely, simply because you weren't aware you needed to prepare for them. So here are just a few recent changes we've stumbled on that could be a major drag for anybody's trip. First, Happily Ever After's start time in Magic Kingdom has been pushed back from 9 p.m. to 9:20 p.m., and that adjusts for those longer summer days ahead of us. But if you didn't know that was going to happen, and if you didn't know it's going to get pushed back to 9 p.m. when the days start to get shorter, you may show up at 9:20 thinking you're going to see the fireworks and you already missed them. Second, a Moana meet and greet started up in Disney's Animal Kingdom at Character Landing, which is near Isle of Java as you head into Dinoland USA. She'll be out and around between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m., but her wait times can push that 2-hour limit. So it's best to get in line to see her first thing in the morning if Moana is a priority experience for you or who you're with. Next up, what happens when the park you're planning to spend all day in and see the fireworks in is closing early that day and you had no idea? This actually happens, I guess, pretty regularly during the year. And it can happen when one of those special after-hours parties is happening, or when someone has rented out the park, or Disney is doing a special event. These can all cause the park to close early. Now, the one that's going to be most prone to causing problems for your trip are those after-hours parties in Magic Kingdom, like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. So Mickey's Not So Scary happens to be on select nights between August 11th and November 1st this year. But if you aren't planning on purchasing a separate party ticket and you just so happen to be in Magic Kingdom on the night a party is taking place, you will be asked to leave the park at 6 p.m., which means no fireworks, no dinner, no late night rides. So check that park calendar online to make sure you're not being shorted on hours during your visit. And that's only a few of the several changes that happen around the parks. You've also got restaurant closures like Trails End at Disney's Fort Wilderness, resort expansions like the DVC rooms being added to Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, which can cause major construction and major noise and major issues because pathways are closed, walkways are closed, and things that you thought would be available to you suddenly aren't. And of course, those ride re-themes like Splash Mountain transforming into Tiana's Bayou Adventure. The changes are like the Energizer Bunny. They just keep going and going and going. So how do you keep up with it all? Again, we here at DFB, we've got you covered when it comes to all things Disney news and updates. So keep checking back with us. We're going to continue giving you the details. But on top of that, you can also directly check the Disney World website and search specific pages for restaurants, resorts, rides, shows, etc. Each of these pages should have an orange notice at the top if there's a change or an issue. That will state if these experiences are undergoing changes or closures that you need to know about. That way you don't have to be taken off guard if you head to Disney World and see that something you were super looking forward to is suddenly not available anymore. Okay, next thing that can destroy your trip, purchasing Genie Plus without knowing anything about it. Okay, you bought Genie Plus, but now that you have it, what do you do with it? Disney Genie Plus is a premium planning tool, lets you select return times for one ride at a time for the lightning lanes of over 40 plus attractions. The prices for Genie Plus start at $15 per day per ticket at Disney World, but have the potential to spike as high as $35 per day or more per ticket. These prices surge based on demand, just like gas prices or rideshare fees do. Now, whether you're paying that minimum $15 or maximum $35 per person, you don't want to fork over the cash for this service without knowing how to get the most out of it during your visit. So figure out how it works before your trip, not during your trip, or else you're just going to make yourself uber frustrated because it can take a hot minute to get the hang of this and understand. Luckily, we've got many posts and videos on our DFB channel and website to help you out. But here's a super speedy recap of some of the most important Genie Plus rules you need to know about and study up on before your visit. Rule number 1, you can purchase Disney Genie Plus at midnight on the day of your visit, and you can start making your first lightning lane selection starting at 7 a.m. Rule number 2, you can only do each ride one time through Genie Plus. If you want to ride it again, you'll have to wait in the regular line. Rule number 3, there are a handful of rides not included in Genie Plus that you'll have to pay for individually in order to use their lightning lanes. For example, Flight of Passage in Animal Kingdom, Tron in Magic Kingdom, Cosmic Rewind in Epcot, Rise of the Resistance in Hollywood Studios. The prices for these rides change based on demand, just like the Genie Plus service itself. Rule number 4, you can make another lightning lane selection once you've used your current lightning lane or once 2 hours have passed since you booked your last lightning lane, whichever comes first. And rule 5, just make sure to screenshot everything you're doing on Genie Plus. We love My Disney Experience and all, but technology isn't flawless. So if you have any issues or glitches that happen while using the service, you can bring that to the attention of the cast members at the park's guest relations, and you'll have the photo receipts to prove your concern. A cast member should be able to help you smooth things out from there. Now, this next issue, I think, hits a lot of us when we're in Disney World, and it kind of ruins the trip if we let it. Constantly thinking about money. I would bet that if I asked 5 random people, any random people, about what they think the worst part of Disney World is, at least one of them would say the price. There's also a good chance all of them would have that same answer because Disney is not cheap. Here's the thing though, if your entire vacation attitude is going to be built around that hefty price you put down for the experience and whether or not it's worth it, you're gonna ironically cheapen the trip for you and your group. I'm not here saying to treat those price tags lightly, because spending hundreds on a hotel room, food, and tickets is rough. What I am saying is that as soon as you agree and your group agrees to bite the bullet and start saving up for that Disney trip, then you can't let the thought of how much you just spent keep you from living in the moment and enjoying that purchase. If dropping a ton of money on a big time vacation right now is going to make you sick to your stomach the entire time you're in Orlando, then for real, don't do it right now. Seriously, I'm giving you permission to not go to Disney World if it feels like too much of a financial burden. It's still there, it'll still be there when you are ready to make the investment, whether that be a year from now, 2 years from now, or even several years from now. And the DFB team will still be here too to help you out. If you are ready to make that big budget Disney commitment, here are a few money saving hacks you can look into before you start making payments on your trip. First, look at park tickets ahead of time. Disney World park tickets can vary in price depending on when you choose to visit. But if you're determined to visit during the cheapest times of the year, you can literally look at the ticket prices ahead of time and see what days are going to be the least expensive. Your cheapest options are going to place you in the parks around August or September. Disney also frequently runs special deals on vacation packages and separate hotel and ticket specific deals too. So make sure to check out the current promotions running on the special offers, deals, and discounts webpage before you snag your tickets. That's right there on the Disney World website. Hack number 2, consider booking a good neighbor hotel. Even Disney's value resorts can run up to $200 per night for a standard stay. If all you're looking for is a place to crash each night that's close to the parks, Disney's partnering Good Neighbor hotels offer rooms that are often not only cheaper than the Disney-owned ones, but can also be more spacious. In the past, we've seen the Bee Resort and Spa have rooms ranging between $95 and $139 per night. We've also seen the DoubleTree Suites by Hilton Orlando offer up a room for $100 a night if you quick booked a 1-bedroom suite with 2 queens and a sofa bed. And Hilton Lake Buena Vista has had prices as low as $97 per night for a guest room with 1 king bed. For many more more options, then go check out Disney's Good Neighbor Hotel's website when you get the chance. Hack number 3, find out what's free. It's way too easy to spend lots of money in Disney, but you can actually find a few free souvenirs and essentials and experiences around property too. For example, free cups of water at the quick service locations will help you save on paying for water and soda bottles everywhere you go. Fun in-park scavenger hunts like Wilderness Explorers and Animal Kingdom and Pirate's Adventure, Treasure of the Seven Seas and Magic Kingdom can help you play around the park without waiting in another attraction line. And celebration buttons are available at the front lobby of your resort or over at guest relations at the front of the parks. And if you wear one of these during your birthday or anniversary or graduation or any celebration, then a cast member might hook you up with even more freebies at one of the restaurants, like the occasional complimentary dessert. Doesn't always happen, but it sometimes does. And of course, our favorite free thing to do in Disney World, head over to the Fort Wilderness Resort campfire at night. You'll get to meet Chip and Dale, experience some fun live music and a sing-along, and see a movie for free, as well as roast marshmallows. Now, the next thing that can really ruin your trip is visiting Disney Springs on its busiest nights. Escaping the parks to get away from the crowds? Great. Unless you escape the crowds and find yourself in even worse crowds than before? If you happen to swing by the Disney Springs shopping district during a weekend night, like on a Friday or Saturday, then expect crowd levels to be intense. I'm talking shoulder to shoulder with people everywhere. Sometimes these vibes might be immaculate, especially if you're looking for some free outdoor music entertainment, which is all the more prominent on these busier Disney Springs evenings. But if you were hoping for a quiet, calm, and collected shopping day with the fam, you're better off chiseling some time out of your Disney itinerary to visit the shopping district first thing in the morning, starting around 10 a.m. If you don't really have a choice and it's either visit Disney Springs on a Saturday night or don't go at all, then make sure you book your dinner dining reservations early. I'm talking even before that 60-day advanced dining reservation window. Wait, what? That's possible? Oh, yeah, it is. Along with the Disney World website, you can also book dining reservations for some Disney Springs restaurants on OpenTable.com because they're not owned by Disney, they're owned by third parties. So how early can you book? Well, it depends on the restaurant. For example, you might be able to reserve your table for Wine Bar George in Disney Springs up to a year in advance. I don't think you'll need to worry about booking it that far in advance, but at least you'll have it. A ton more restaurants let you book between 60 days and 6 months out with potential options like Paddlefish, the Boathouse, the Edison, and Morimoto Asia. And the best part about OpenTable, even if you're not finding reservation availability on the My Disney Experience website, that doesn't mean you won't find it on OpenTable. So always double check just in case you hit the jackpot. Now, another thing to be careful of so it doesn't completely destroy your trip. Okay, it doesn't matter how over the moon thrilled your kid is about their upcoming Disney World vacation. The kid you are taking to Disney is still the same kid you have back home. And that means they're still going to be the same kid who gets cranky when they miss their afternoon nap, or overstimulated when the fireworks are too loud, or ultra hyperactive when too much sugar from Mickey-shaped cookies hits them all at once. While you're building your dream Disney itinerary, don't just plan around your needs, but your kids' needs too. And know that all of your negative traits and your kids' negative traits are just going to get exacerbated by the excitement and the lack of sleep that happens at Disney World. So, does your kid need a nap after lunch? Then book a hotel close by for quick and easy room access. Do they tend to have breakdowns if they go to bed too late and wake up too early? Plan park days that'll give them enough shut-eye. Are they super picky eaters? Pack plenty of park snacks that you know they're going to enjoy before you take off. And reminder, moms, you can't find Cheerios in Disney World, so bring them with you. And if your kid does experience some rather high emotions at some point during the trip, even after you've planned an itinerary trying to avoid that very thing, don't stress about it. I promise you it will happen. It happens to everybody. Disney is draining, even for adults, and especially for adults. So the fact that your kid is responding to some major stimulation isn't because they're unappreciative or spoiled or poorly behaved. It just means there's a lot happening all at once. And even if everything happening is fun, it's still a major change from that day-to-day schedule they're comfortable with back home. So take those breaks, take lots of them. Just get everyone in your group off their feet into the AC and take a breather before getting back to all the rides and shows. You're not a bad parent, you're not a bad mom, you're not a bad dad. It happens to all of us. I can promise you that. Now, this next one, we talk about it all the time, but it really, really, really can cause a problem. That is underestimating the weather. I know it's a popular topic on our channel. Regardless, underestimating Florida weather and its impact on you physically, emotionally, and mentally continues to be the biggest mistake people make time and again. At the beginning of the year, and even on into the spring season, it's important to pack layers. In the mornings, temps might be pretty chilly, but by noon, you're going to be sweating your socks off. Then a sudden rain shower might pop up and get you back bathtub drenched. And then when the sun comes out again, it's so humid. Finally, you might wrap up your night with another jolly cold spike. Like I said, Orlando keeps us on our toes all the time. Get yourself an app that tells you what's coming and keep an eye on it. It's going to be very, very useful so you can decide what ride lines to get in, because you don't want to get in the ride lines for the rides that are going to shut down if there's a rainstorm, if there's one on its way. You want to be careful about transportation because that Skyliner is going to shut down. Boats are going to shut down if there's a big storm. So in addition to keeping an eye on the weather, you're going to bring those ponchos, bring those sweatshirts, bring those jackets, bring those umbrellas, bring your extra socks because wet socks cause blisters. Nobody wants blisters. But whether you're traveling during winter, spring, summer, or fall, pack with the sun in mind because the sun is still relentless even on Orlando's chillier days. Sunscreen and hydration, those are a must. They're going to keep you happy and healthy. So bring a water bottle, pack electrolyte replenishers, have sunscreen on hand. Plan to reapply that stuff frequently throughout the day too. Disney World may not be the relaxing beachside cocktail sipping stress-free getaway that warrants the title of vacation, but it can still be an awesome theme park getaway and you can have so many amazing memories from it. And it can be worth every penny. So that's why we're here. We're making sure you know what can go wrong so that you can make sure it doesn't go wrong. And don't forget, we can help you keep track of your upcoming trip in real time if you go ahead and drop us your email at disneyfoodblog.com/disneyplans, because the earlier you can start planning, the better. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.